If you're a consultant, there may actually be the best business model. Now, many years ago, I would never actually say that there is a best business model. And that's because everyone's situation is different. And I don't actually think it's responsible for anyone to say that there's a best of anything without knowing your specific situation and just saying there's the best. Well, the best is going to be different for everyone. However, I do believe that there is an optimal business model that likely is best for many people. And I'm going to explain why that is. So first of all, let's break down the three different types of consulting business models. There's three proven models, and this is where kind of most people fall into. And then I'll talk about one slight variation at the end, which is the best, in my opinion. So the first is the solo consulting model, right? Kind of solo independent consulting model. This is, typically one person, maybe with an assistant or so forth. The focus there is going to usually be on value over volume, meaning that you work with a smaller group of clients who are paying higher fees, right? Typically value pricing, which allows you to create more leverage to make the value of every engagement significantly greater. And you wouldn't want volume if you're a solo independent consultant because you can't manage it. So you want a small group. You're typically doing customized, kind of bespoke work with each of those clients. Really focusing on the relationship, really focusing on working closely with them and creating the greatest level of value that you possibly can. The negatives, of course, is that it's all you, right? You are the business. You take a day off, the business could suffer. You have to do marketing, you have to do operations, you have to do training, you have to do delivery, you have to do everything, right? Administration. Of course, you can have some people around you for that to make that part easier. But there's positives and negatives to that model. Now, the second model is the firm model, known as the consulting firm model. And this is when you typically think of like McKinsey and Bain, Boston Consulting Group and Deloitte or whatever. This is the type of model that most of them use. And really this is about placing more people, right? More consultants, more associates into organizations. The more people you put in, right, the more you're charging. And of course, there's the margin between what you're paying to that employee and what the company are receiving. And so therefore, the more people that you place, right, the more margin that you're extracting. And so that's the benefit, or that's kind of the model. That's great if you enjoy managing people and having all those moving parts and building up something bigger that potentially you might want to sell one day. And having a big impact, right? Because you can spread and kind of work with more organizations. The downside might be is if you don't enjoy the idea of managing people and having to do all the training, the hiring, and the firing, and all leadership and all that kind of stuff, then that model might not be the right one for you. The third consulting business model that has been proven over many years is the productized kind of model, right? So this is essentially where you take your services, your knowledge, your expertise, and you start to productize it. You turn it into a product, or you turn it into a more defined system and process that allows you to really deliver it in a much more consistent kind of manner. And this is valuable because the pros of this is that you're able to kind of do one thing over and over again and get very good at it. It also means that as you're doing that, you're able to find different people, right? So different kind of, whether it's employees or contractors, freelancers, whatever services, to plug into the system and process that you've created with that productized model. And there's a lot of leverage in that, right? Because you're able to do the same thing over and over. You master it, right? You get very good at it, and you know exactly who you need or what you need to run it. And so it's very consistent, right? There's very little complexity, and so complexity doesn't scale, which is why the productized kind of service model works very well. Some people, the con might be some people find it a little bit boring, monotonous. You're doing kind of the same thing over and over. You're just trying to make it better and better. And so that might not be ideal for everyone, but it certainly can work really well. The challenge, I would say, with the productized model, or it's not really a challenge, but just so that you know, is that very few people actually start with the productized consulting kind of business model. Productization typically comes from doing either solo independent consulting or working, in the firm kind of model, and then arriving at, hey, you know what? We're doing this one thing a lot, or we're creating the highest and best level of results with this thing over here. Why don't we just do more of that? Or our clients keep asking us, or prospective clients keep asking us for this thing over here. And so it typically comes from doing the work for a while and then starting to see where the opportunities are. That's where productization really comes into place. Now, we've talked about three models. These are the three proven consulting business models. You could use any one of these and there's nothing wrong with it. There's many consultants that are successful using each of these 3 models. But there is one model that I haven't yet shared that I think could be the best. And that is what we call the hybrid model. And the hybrid is essentially that you take any one of those 3 and you combine them. So you might have a business that is a solo kind of consulting practice, but you also find one aspect of that business that people desire the most, or you get asked about the most, or that you're just creating great results or that you enjoy, and you then start to productize it and build it in. So you're doing some customized work with clients at high value, and then you're doing some productization. You're providing productized service offerings at a lower value or lower dollar amount typically, but you can handle more volume and you can build some contractors or resources around that. Or you might be in a firm model and you find again that one aspect of that can be productized. And so really the only reason that I can say with confidence that the hybrid model is the best is because it's whatever is best for you, right? You can take the parts of the different models that actually work best for your specific situation, your goals, your strengths, right? And then feed them together to create almost a custom hybrid solution that works for you. So look today at what you're currently doing, what process you're using, what system, what model, and don't just follow what you see other people doing and think, oh yeah, this person's successful, so I should do that too, or the status quo in consulting is this. No. I mean, the beautiful thing about being in business is that you get to create what you want. You can make your business the way that you want it to be. No one can dictate or control how you build your business. Of course, the market has an influence on that, right? Whether they buy and they want what you have to offer, but you can truly structure your business in a way that works for you. If you don't want to travel for work, then structure your business so you don't have to, right? Make it remote. If you want to work with a global audience, you can make that happen. If you don't want to do custom projects and big, long-term kind of massive engagements, don't do that. Structure your business, structure your model in a way that works for you. And that's the hybrid model, and that's why I believe it's the best consulting model out there.